Welcome everyone. We're so glad you're here. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content. Now, let's dive into today's story. Hey there friends, thanks for stopping by. If you enjoy our videos, please show your support by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Alright, let's get into the heart of today's epic tale. Hello lovely people, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, we warmly encourage you to like this video and subscribe so you won't miss out on our exciting journeys. Now, on to our main event. Greetings viewers, it's wonderful to have you with us. Please take a moment to like and light a heel. The first light of dawn whispered through the paper-thin shoji screens, casting a gentle, golden glow upon the tatami mats of the chamber. The air was crisp with the lingering scent of cherry blossoms, their delicate fragrance dancing with the soft breath of the early morning breeze. Within the confines of these ancient walls, time seemed to pause, suspended in a silken web of tradition and silence. As the sun began its slow ascent over the distant mountains, the gentle rustling of silk announced the stirring of life within the chamber. Akiko, a favored concubine of the shogun's court, lay nestled among layers of embroidered kimonos, her dark hair cascading like a waterfall of ink against the pale silk of her pillow. Her eyes fluttered open, revealing a pair of irises as deep and mysterious as the midnight sea. The day had begun, and with it, the intricate dance of duty and desire that defined her existence. The world outside her window was a tapestry of colors and sounds, a harmonious symphony that echoed the eternal rhythm of nature. The distant call of a cuckoo mingled with the soft murmur of a stream, its waters glistening like liquid silver under the morning sun. Yet within the serenity of her surroundings, Akiko felt the weight of her role pressing against her like the oppressive heat of summer, a constant reminder of the delicate balance she must maintain. Her day commenced with the ritualistic precision that governed the lives of those within the shogun's inner circle. Attendants, their movements as graceful as the petals of a lotus flower, entered the chamber to assist her in the morning's ablutions. Akiko submitted to their ministrations with practiced ease, her mind drifting like a leaf upon the water. The cool touch of water against her skin was a welcome reprieve, a fleeting moment of purity before the demands of the day took hold. Once adorned in robes of exquisite craftsmanship, each stitch a testament to the artisan's skill, Akiko made her way through the winding corridors of the palace. The halls were adorned with masterful paintings and intricate woodwork, a testament to the shogunate's wealth and power. Each step she took was measured, her movements a symphony of grace, as she navigated the labyrinthine passages with the familiarity born of years spent within its embrace. The day unfolded in a series of orchestrated encounters, each one a carefully choreographed display of wit and charm. In the presence of the shogun, Akiko's laughter was light as the tinkling of a wind chime, her words carefully chosen to entertain and delight. Yet beneath the surface of her artful gaiety lay an undercurrent of tension, a silent reminder of the ever-present scrutiny that accompanied her every move. As the afternoon sun cast long shadows across the gardens, Akiko found solace in the tranquil embrace of nature. The garden was a masterpiece of serenity, a sanctuary where the world seemed to fade away, leaving only the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant song of a nightingale. Here, among the meticulously tended blooms, she could breathe freely, her spirit unburdened by the constraints of courtly life. It was during one of these stolen moments of peace that Akiko noticed a visitor from the shadows, a stranger whose presence was as unexpected as it was intriguing. He was a traveler, his garments dusty from the road, yet his eyes held a spark of curiosity that mirrored her own. Their conversation began with the simplicity of shared observations, the language of those who find connection in the unlikeliest of places. The traveler spoke of distant lands and adventures untold, weaving tales that captured Akiko's imagination and stirred her soul. His words painted vivid landscapes of foreign shores, where the sun set in hues of fire and the stars danced in patterns unknown. As she listened, Akiko felt the stirrings of a longing she had buried deep within her heart, a yearning for freedom, for a life unshackled by duty and expectation. Yet, as the shadows lengthened and the traveler prepared to depart, a sense of unease settled upon her. There was something in his gaze, a flicker of intent that sent a shiver down her spine. It was a look that spoke of secrets untold, of mysteries that lay hidden beneath the surface of his tales. Akiko watched him vanish into the twilight, her heart a delicate balance of intrigue and apprehension. The evening descended upon the palace with the gentle grace of a falling petal, wrapping the world in a cloak of darkness and mystery. The air was alive with the soft hum of insects and the distant croak of frogs, a chorus that sang of life and renewal. Akiko's thoughts drifted to the traveler, her mind weaving intricate patterns of possibility and consequence. As she prepared for the evening's festivities, Akiko's reflection in the polished mirror revealed a visage of serene beauty, yet her eyes betrayed the turmoil within. The banquet hall was a dazzling spectacle, a kaleidoscope of color and light that dazzled the senses. The air was thick with the scent of incense and the laughter of courtiers, a symphony of decadence that masked the undercurrents of power and intrigue. Amidst the revelry, Akiko moved with the practiced elegance of a dancer upon a stage, her every gesture calculated to enchant and beguile. Yet beneath the veneer of artful charm, her thoughts remained tethered to the stranger and the stories he had spun. The night unfolded in a blur of music and laughter, yet within her heart, a seed of curiosity had taken root, growing ever stronger with each passing moment. As the final notes of the evening's entertainment faded into silence, Akiko found herself drawn to the garden once more. The moon hung high in the sky, its silvery light casting an ethereal glow upon the world below. It was here, beneath the watchful gaze of the stars, that she allowed herself to dream, to imagine a life beyond the confines of her gilded cage, a life where her heart could soar free upon the winds of adventure. Yet even as she dreamed, Akiko knew the path she walked was fraught with peril. The world of the court was a delicate tapestry, its threads woven with ambition and deceit. Every action, every word was a step upon a tightrope, a precarious dance that required constant vigilance. The traveler had awakened a hunger within her, but she knew that to pursue it would be to risk everything she held dear. And so, as the night deepened and the world slumbered, Akiko stood alone beneath the ancient cherry tree, her heart a tempest of desire and duty. The future lay before her, a vast expanse of unknown possibilities, and within its shadowed depths, the whisper of a promise yet unspoken. In that moment, as the first light of dawn began to chase away the darkness, Akiko understood that her life, like the delicate petals of the cherry blossom, was fleeting, a precious, ephemeral beauty that could be swept away by the slightest breeze. Yet even in its transience, there was a strength, a resilience that she could draw upon as she faced the days to come. Her journey was only beginning, and with it, the promise of a destiny yet to be written. The first light of dawn crept gently across the horizon, casting a soft glow over the imperial gardens. The air was crisp, tinged with the lingering scent of night-blooming jasmine, and the world seemed to hold its breath in anticipation of the day. Akiko, wrapped in a silken kimono the color of dawn, moved with practiced grace, her steps a whisper against the dew-kissed grass. As she made her way back to the quarters she shared with other concubines, the palace began to stir with the sounds of servants preparing for the day. The clatter of wooden sandals on stone paths, the murmur of voices exchanging morning greetings, and the distant song of a nightingale all wove together into a tapestry of life unfurling anew. Akiko's mind, however, lingered on the events of the previous night. The traveler, with his eyes like storm-tossed seas and a voice that carried the weight of far-off lands, had ignited within her a fire that refused to be quenched. His stories of distant places, where the air smelled of spices and the sun dipped into seas of gold, had stirred her soul in ways she had never imagined possible. The court was a world ruled by decorum and tradition, where every glance and gesture was scrutinized and secrets were currency more valuable than gold. Yet beneath the surface, beneath the painted smiles and embroidered silks, lay a web of intrigue spun from ambition and desire. The traveler had been a reminder of the world beyond the palace walls, a world full of possibilities that beckoned with a siren's call. As she reached the concubine's quarters, Akiko paused at the threshold and took a deep breath, steadying herself for the day ahead. The room was filled with the soft rustle of silk and the muted laughter of her companions, their morning rituals a familiar symphony. As she entered, her presence was acknowledged with a chorus of greetings, and she returned them with a serene smile, concealing the turmoil that churned within her heart. The morning unfolded with a predictable rhythm, a choreography of duties and diversions designed to occupy the hours until the emperor summoned them to his side. Akiko moved through the motions with an elegance that belied her inner unrest, her thoughts a constant dance between the obligations of her station and the yearning for something more. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting dappled shadows through the intricate latticework of the palace windows, Akiko found herself drawn to the gardens once more. Here, amidst the vibrant tapestry of nature's colors, she could find a semblance of peace, a refuge from the watchful eyes and whispered intrigues of the court. The cherry tree, its branches now heavy with blossoms, stood as a steadfast sentinel against the backdrop of a cloudless sky. Akiko settled beneath its boughs, letting the delicate petals drift down around her like a fragrant snow. She closed her eyes, allowing the tranquility of the garden to wash over her, and for a brief moment, the weight of her responsibilities seemed to lift. But even in this haven, her thoughts returned to the traveler. She remembered the way his words had painted vivid pictures in her mind, each tale a brushstroke upon the canvas of her imagination. He had spoken of freedom, of a life unbound by the constraints of duty, and his stories had awakened a longing within her, a desire to see the world beyond the palace gates, to forge her own path in a world vast and unexplored. Yet the reality of her situation was inescapable. She was bound to the court by ties of tradition and loyalty, her fate intertwined with the emperor's whims and the machinations of those who sought power within the palace walls. To defy these bonds was to invite ruin, not only upon herself but upon those she held dear. Still, the seed of possibility had been planted, and it grew within her heart, a fragile bloom of hope that refused to be extinguished. As the day wore on and the shadows lengthened, Akiko resolved to nurture this hope, to keep it alive even in the face of uncertainty. She would find a way to reconcile her desires with her duties, to carve out a place for herself within the confines of her world. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of crimson and gold, Akiko rose from her place beneath the cherry tree. The air was alive with the promise of evening, the cool breeze carrying with it the scent of the sea, a reminder of the world beyond. She turned her steps back toward the palace, her heart a steady drumbeat of determination and resolve. The night unfolded with a quiet elegance, a tapestry of silken whispers and candlelit shadows. The court gathered for the evening meal, the great hall filled with the soft glow of lanterns and the gentle murmur of conversation. Akiko took her place among the other concubines, her presence a study in serenity as she navigated the delicate dance of courtly politics. As the meal progressed, she found herself drawn into conversation with the other women, their voices a soothing balm against the tension that coiled within her. They spoke of fashion and poetry, of the latest rumors and intrigues, their laughter a bright thread woven through the fabric of the evening. Yet even as she engaged in the familiar exchanges, Akiko's thoughts were never far from the traveler and the world he had opened to her. She was aware of the emperor's gaze upon her, a weighty reminder of her place within the palace and the delicate balance she must maintain. The evening wore on, and as the guests began to disperse, Akiko lingered, her heart a restless sea of longing and resolve. She knew that the path before her was fraught with peril, that the choices she made in the days to come would shape the course of her life in ways she could not yet foresee. But as she stood beneath the starlit sky, the cherry blossoms whispering in the breeze, Akiko felt a quiet certainty settle within her, a knowledge that she was stronger than the chains that bound her, that she held within her the power to shape her own destiny. And so, with the night as her witness and the cherry tree as her silent confidant, Akiko stepped forward into the unknown, her heart a beacon of light in the darkness, a promise of all that was yet to come. The moon hung low in the sky, a luminous disk casting silver trails across the palace gardens, where the world seemed to hold its breath in anticipation of the dawn. As Akiko moved with unhurried grace along the winding paths, The whispers of the cherry blossoms accompanied her, their soft voices weaving a tapestry of timeless secrets and age-old dreams. Each step she took seemed to stir the very air, setting it alight with an electric tension that crackled softly in the night. The palace, now a slumbering beast of wood and stone, was wrapped in a hushed stillness, its corridors echoing with the faint memories of laughter and music that had filled the air earlier. Akiko's thoughts danced like the shadows cast by the flickering lanterns, swirling in a delicate ballet of hope and trepidation. Her heart, a steadfast drumbeat in her chest, guided her through the labyrinth of her own making, a maze of duty and desire, of loyalty and longing. With each room she passed, she felt the weight of the palace's history, 1,000 stories etched into its very bones. The tapestries lining the walls told tales of emperors and warriors, of love lost and won, their vibrant colors muted in the gentle moonlight. Yet it was not these tales that captured her imagination tonight. It was her own story, unwritten and uncertain, that filled her mind with possibilities. In the quiet sanctuary of her quarters, Akiko paused, allowing the familiar scents of sandalwood and jasmine to wrap around her like a comforting embrace. The room was a haven, a small world of her own making, filled with the treasures and trinkets she had collected over the years. Each item held a memory, a moment frozen in time. A delicate comb carved from ivory, a porcelain teapot painted with cranes in flight, a silken kimono in the deepest shade of indigo. Yet it was the scroll resting on the low wooden table that drew her gaze, its surface marked with the elegant strokes of calligraphy that the traveler had taught her. She reached for it, her fingers tracing the inked characters as if seeking to draw strength from their beauty. The words were a poem, a fragment of the world beyond the palace walls, and as she read them, she felt the stirrings of courage deep within her soul. Time slipped by unnoticed, the hours melting into one another as Akiko sat in quiet contemplation. Her mind drifted to the traveler, to the stories he had shared of distant lands and endless skies, of roads untraveled and horizons yet to be seen. She imagined herself walking those paths, the wind in her hair and the sun on her skin, unbound and unafraid. But with the dawn came the gentle reminder of her reality, the soft chime of the palace bells calling her back to the present. The sky was a canvas of pastel hues, the first rays of sunlight painting the world in shades of gold and rose. Akiko rose from her reverie, her heart steady with resolve, her mind clear and focused. The day unfolded as it always did, with its familiar rhythms and rituals, yet Akiko moved through it with a newfound sense of purpose. She attended to her duties with a quiet grace, her every action a testament to the strength that lay within her. As she walked the corridors, she felt the eyes of the court upon her, their curiosity a silent undercurrent that she met with serene composure. Throughout the morning, she found herself drawn to the gardens, where the cherry blossoms continued their gentle dance in the breeze. Beneath their boughs, she sought solace and guidance, her thoughts a silent prayer to the universe. It was there, in the quiet embrace of nature, that she felt the presence of the traveler most keenly, his words a gentle murmur in her ear, urging her forward. As the day wore on, Akiko found herself summoned to the emperor's presence, a summons she had anticipated with a mixture of dread and determination. The audience chamber was a grand space, its high ceilings and ornate decorations designed to inspire awe. Yet as she entered, her steps light and assured, she felt a calm certainty settle over her, a quiet confidence that steadied her heart. The emperor regarded her with a gaze that was both inscrutable and knowing, his presence a palpable force that filled the room. Silence stretched between them, a living thing that pulsed with unspoken words and shared understanding. Akiko met his eyes with unwavering resolve, her own gaze steady and unflinching. In that moment, the world seemed to hold its breath, the air thick with anticipation. Akiko felt the weight of her choices, the delicate balance of power and duty that stretched taut between them. Yet she also felt the strength of her convictions, the quiet fire that burned within her, illuminating the path she must take. The emperor's voice, when it came, was a gentle rumble, a sound that resonated through the chamber. His words were measured and deliberate, a dance of diplomacy and inquiry, yet Akiko sensed a deeper understanding beneath them. She responded with grace, Her own words, a careful weaving of honesty and respect. Each sentence, a step on the path towards her own freedom. The conversation unfolded like a game of Go, each move calculated and precise. Yet beneath the surface lay a shared recognition of the world beyond the palace walls, a world that called to both of them in different ways. As the dialogue continued, Akiko felt the chains that bound her begin to loosen, the weight of her fears lifting like mist in the morning sun. When at last the audience concluded, Akiko left the chamber with her heart light and her spirit unchained. The emperor had not spoken of the traveler, nor of the paths she might choose, yet his gaze had held a promise, a silent acknowledgement of the journey that lay ahead. It was a gift, a rare and precious offering, and Akiko accepted it with gratitude and grace. The afternoon sun bathed the palace in a warm glow, the light filtering through the trees to dapple the ground with patterns of shadow and light. Akiko wandered the gardens once more, her steps unhurried and free, her mind a kaleidoscope of dreams and desires. The world around her was alive with possibility, each moment a chance to step further into the life she longed to live. In the days that followed, Akiko moved with quiet determination, each action a step on the path she had chosen. The palace, with its walls of tradition and duty, became a landscape of opportunity, a place where she could begin to shape her own destiny. The traveler's words lingered in her thoughts, a guiding star in the night sky, a reminder of all that was yet to come. And so, with the cherry blossoms as her silent witnesses and the moon as her eternal confidant, Akiko embraced the journey before her, her heart a beacon of light and hope, a promise of all that she would become. The following morning, the air was thick with the scent of rain-soaked earth and the tender whispers of a world waking to the song of a new day. Akiko stood by the window of her chamber, watching the rain-drenched landscape unfurl like a scroll of ancient tales. The garden glistened under the soft caress of morning light, each droplet a jewel adorning the delicate petals of the cherry blossoms, each blade of grass a silent testament to the night's gentle embrace. A sense of tranquility enveloped her, mingling with an undercurrent of anticipation that set her heart to a quiet rhythm. Today, she resolved, would be a day of discovery, a day to explore the mysteries hidden within the palace walls and the hearts of those who dwelled within them. She dressed with care, choosing a kimono of pale blue silk, its fabric whispering against her skin like the breath of the ocean on a summer's eve. As she stepped into the corridor, the silence of the palace was a living thing, moving with her in a dance as old as time. The echoes of her footfalls were the only accompaniment to her thoughts, creating a melody that was both familiar and new, a symphony of the soul. She made her way to the library, a sanctuary of knowledge and wonder, its shelves laden with scrolls and texts that promised worlds waiting to be discovered. The library was a place of solace for Akiko, a realm where she could lose herself in the stories of those who had come before, their voices whispering to her across the chasm of time. Today, however, the library was not empty. A young scholar, his eyes sharp with curiosity and intellect, sat at a low table, surrounded by an array of scrolls and inkstones. His presence was a subtle disruption to the usual solitude she cherished, yet it was also an invitation, a door slightly ajar to a world she had yet to explore. "Good morning," she greeted softly, her voice a gentle ripple in the stillness of the room. The scholar looked up, surprise flickering across his features before it was replaced by a smile, warm and welcoming. "Good morning, my lady," he replied, inclining his head in a gesture of respect. "I hope I am not disturbing your peace." "Not at all," Akiko assured him, moving closer to the table. "I find it refreshing to see another soul lost in the beauty of words." He gestured to the scrolls before him. "These tales are my companions," he said, his voice imbued with a kind of reverence. "They speak of times long past, of heroes and poets, of dreams woven into the fabric of our history." Akiko felt a spark of kinship with this stranger, an understanding that transcended the confines of their roles within the palace. "May I join you?" she asked, her curiosity piqued by the promise of stories untold. "Of course," he replied, motioning for her to sit beside him. "I am Kaito, a humble scholar in search of truth and beauty within these ancient tomes." As they delved into the scrolls, the world outside fell away, leaving them cocooned in a realm of ink and parchment. Kaito's voice was like a gentle stream, guiding Akiko through the labyrinth of history and myth, his words painting vivid pictures in her mind. They spoke of the Heian period, of poets who captured the essence of fleeting moments, of warriors who fought for honor and love, their lives entwined with the destiny of the land. Time slipped by unnoticed, the morning giving way to afternoon as the rain continued to fall, its rhythm a soothing counterpoint to their conversation. Akiko felt a growing sense of connection with Kaito, their shared love of words and stories bridging the gap between their worlds. Yet, beneath the surface of their camaraderie, a question lingered, unspoken, yet insistent, a shadow in the light of their discovery. What was it that Kaito sought within these texts? What truths did he hope to uncover, and how did they relate to the world they inhabited? As if sensing her unvoiced query, Kaito paused, his gaze distant, as if reaching for something just beyond his grasp. "These stories," he murmured, "they hold within them the echoes of our own lives, the choices we make, the paths we walk. I seek to understand the past, to learn from it, and perhaps to find a way to shape the future." His words resonated within Akiko, mirroring her own desires and dreams. She pondered the paths that lay before her, the choices she would make, and the legacy she would leave behind. In that moment, she understood that her journey was not hers alone, but part of a tapestry woven with the lives of those around her, each thread a story waiting to be told. As the day began to wane, Akiko and Kaito bid farewell, their parting a promise of future meetings, of shared discoveries yet to come. She left the library with a heart lighter than it had been in many moons, the weight of uncertainty tempered by the warmth of newfound friendship and understanding. The rain had ceased by the time Akiko returned to the gardens, the air fresh and fragrant with the scent of renewal. She walked among the cherry blossoms, their delicate beauty a reminder of life's impermanence, their fleeting grace a testament to the power of the present moment. Akiko paused beneath a particularly resplendent tree, its branches heavy with blossoms, their petals a cascade of pink and white that danced in the breeze. She closed her eyes, allowing the peace of the garden to envelop her, the world a gentle hum of life and possibility. In that moment, she felt a shift within her, a subtle yet profound change that spoke of growth and transformation. The path she had chosen was not without its challenges, yet she faced it with a newfound strength, her heart a compass guiding her toward the horizon of her dreams. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and rose, Akiko turned her gaze to the moon, its silver light a beacon in the gathering dusk. She stood in the garden, her silhouette framed by the glow of the setting sun, her spirit a flame that burned with the promise of all that was yet to come. And so, as the stars began to twinkle in the velvet sky, Akiko embraced the night, her soul a tapestry of light and shadow, her heart a symphony of hope and desire. She was a concubine, yes, but she was also a woman of strength and vision, a seeker of truth and beauty in a world filled with mystery and wonder. With each passing day, she stepped further into her destiny, her journey a dance of grace and courage, her life a story waiting to be told. And in the quiet of the night, beneath the watchful gaze of the moon and stars, Akiko whispered a prayer of gratitude, her voice a melody that soared into the heavens, a promise of all that she would become. The air around Akiko was cool and fragrant, carrying the scent of blossoming cherry trees and the distant murmurs of the evening wind. She lingered in the garden, her feet bare upon the soft earth, grounding her in the moment as if the universe itself had woven this tapestry of night just for her. The garden was her sanctuary, a place where the rigid structure of her life inside the palace walls could soften into something more ethereal, more her own. Tonight, the garden seemed to pulse with a life of its own, the gentle rustle of leaves whispering secrets known only to the night. Akiko moved with the grace of a dancer, her kimono trailing behind her like water, its silken threads catching the moonlight and shimmering like the surface of a tranquil pond. She walked towards a stone bench nestled beneath an ancient cherry tree. Its gnarled branches bore witness to countless seasons, and in their shade, Akiko found solace. She sat with a sigh, the night enfolding her in its embrace. It was here, in these quiet moments, that she felt the true depth of her existence. a life beyond the courtly intrigues and whispered rumors that fluttered like restless spirits through the corridors of the palace. Akiko reached out, her fingers brushing against the cool, smooth surface of the bench, tracing patterns that mirrored the constellations above. Her thoughts drifted to the Emperor, a man of great power and mystery. Their encounters were like the moon's reflection upon water, fleeting, beautiful, and tinged with an elusive sadness. She was but one of many in his court, yet she felt the weight of his gaze as if it were a tangible force, shaping the very fabric of her reality. In the stillness, her mind wandered to the other concubines, each with their own stories and dreams, woven into the tapestry of palace life. There was May, with laughter like a bubbling brook, who spoke of love as if it were a treasure to be guarded fiercely. And Hana, with eyes as deep as the sea, who moved through life with an air of quiet determination. They were her sisters in this gilded cage, bound together by fate and circumstance. Yet, as much as Akiko cherished these bonds, she felt a longing for something more, a yearning as ancient as the stars themselves. Her spirit reached out, searching for a connection that transcended the boundaries of her world. It was a hunger for truth, for beauty that was untainted by the politics of the court, a desire to find her own voice amidst the cacophony of others. The sound of a bamboo flute drifted through the air, its notes weaving a haunting melody that spoke to the deepest corners of her heart. It was a song of longing, of journeys untaken, and paths yet to be discovered. Akiko closed her eyes, allowing the music to wash over her, each note a thread that connected her to the unseen, the unknown. In this moment, she felt a presence, a shadow that lingered just beyond the edge of her awareness. It was not the Emperor, nor any of the courtiers she knew. It was something or someone else, a whisper of destiny that beckoned her forward. A shiver ran down her spine, not of fear, but of anticipation, as if the universe itself was holding its breath, waiting for her to take the next step. The night deepened, stars scattered like diamonds across the heavens, their light a reminder of the vastness of the cosmos. Akiko stood, her heart a drumbeat of courage and resolve. She turned towards the palace, its silhouette a dark monolith against the glittering sky. Her life was bound to it, yet she felt the stirrings of change, like the first light of dawn on the horizon. As she walked back through the garden, the sound of footsteps on the path ahead startled her. She paused, listening, the night air heavy with anticipation. From the shadows emerged a figure, cloaked in darkness yet familiar. It was Takashi, the palace gardener, a man whose presence was as constant as the changing seasons. His face was etched with lines of wisdom, his eyes reflecting the quiet strength of the earth he tended. "Akiko," he murmured, his voice a gentle caress against the backdrop of night. "The moon is full tonight. It is a time for dreams and revelations." She nodded, her heart a flutter of wings. Takashi had always spoken in riddles, his words a tapestry of hidden meanings. He was a keeper of secrets, a guardian of truths that lay buried beneath the layers of courtly life. "I feel it too," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "There is something in the air, a promise of things to come." He smiled, a slow, knowing curve of lips that spoke of understanding beyond words. "The garden teaches us much, if we have the eyes to see and the heart to listen. Trust in your journey, Akiko. The path unfolds as it must, and you are exactly where you need to be." With that, he turned and melted back into the shadows, leaving her alone once more. But his words lingered, a beacon of light that guided her steps. Akiko continued towards the palace, her mind a whirlwind of thoughts, her heart a symphony of emotions. She entered her chambers, the familiar surroundings a comfort in their predictability. The paper screens diffused the moonlight, casting delicate patterns upon the tatami mats. She knelt by the small altar, lighting a stick of incense, the fragrant smoke curling upwards in a dance of devotion. Her thoughts turned inward, to the dreams that whispered to her in the quiet hours of the night. She saw herself walking through fields of golden wheat, the sun warm upon her skin, the sky an endless expanse of azure. It was a vision of freedom, of a life unbound by the constraints of duty and expectation. But beneath it all lay the deeper currents of her spirit, a yearning for truth, for understanding that transcended the simple pleasures of the senses. It was a call to embrace her destiny, to weave her own story amidst the tapestry of the world. As she meditated, the air around her seemed to pulse with energy, the boundaries between the seen and the unseen blurring. She felt the presence of the universe around her, its infinite possibilities unfolding like petals of a lotus blooming in the sun. In this sacred space, Akiko found clarity. She was a concubine, a courtesan in the emperor's court, yet she was so much more. She was a woman of strength, of vision, a seeker of truths that lay beyond the veil of the known. Her life was a journey, a dance of light and shadow, of grace and courage. And as the night deepened, she embraced her path, her heart a beacon of hope and desire. She whispered a prayer of gratitude, her voice a melody that soared into the heavens, a promise of all that she would become. The future lay before her, vast and uncharted, a world of mystery and wonder waiting to be discovered. The stars hung like precious lanterns in the indigo sky, each one a silent witness to the dreams and desires of those who dwelt beneath. Akiko rose from her meditation with a newfound sense of purpose, her spirit buoyed by the night's ethereal embrace. She moved with the grace of a shadow through the screen doors of her chamber, the delicate rustle of her silk kimono trailing her movement like a whispered secret. The corridors of the palace were hushed, the only sound the gentle sigh of the wind brushing against the wooden eaves. Each step she took was deliberate, a dance of intention as she navigated the labyrinth of her world. As she walked, her mind wandered to the other souls that shared her space, each with their own stories etched upon the fabric of their lives. There was Yuki, the wise and weathered maid who had once been a concubine herself, her eyes still sparkling with the remnants of youthful mischief. And Hana, the youngest among them, with her heart full of dreams and her laughter like the tinkling of bells. As she passed their quarters, Akiko sent a silent blessing to her sisters in spirit, each one a thread in the intricate tapestry of the court. She thought of the emperor, a man of power and mystery, whose presence was both a source of security and an enigma to unravel. His world was one of politics and intrigue, yet Akiko knew there was more to him than the polished veneer he presented to the world. Her feet carried her to the heart of the palace gardens, where the moonlight painted the landscape in shades of silver and shadow. The air was perfumed with the fragrance of cherry blossoms, their delicate petals fluttering like butterflies in the night breeze. The garden was a sanctuary, a place where the soul could breathe and the heart could dream. Akiko paused by the koi pond, its surface a perfect mirror reflecting the heavens above. She watched as the fish glided gracefully beneath the water, their movements a dance of color and light. Here, in this sacred space, she felt a connection to something greater than herself, a thread that linked her to the past, present, and future. She knelt by the water's edge, her fingers trailing through the cool liquid, and let her thoughts drift like the ripples spreading across the pond. The night was alive with possibilities, each one a step on the path she was destined to walk. As she sat in contemplation, the sound of footsteps reached her ears, a soft rhythm that broke the stillness of the night. Akiko turned her gaze toward the source of the sound, her heart quickening with curiosity. A figure emerged from the shadowed path, his silhouette outlined by the moon's gentle glow. It was Satoshi, the emperor's trusted advisor, a man whose presence was as enigmatic as the night itself. His eyes, dark and deep, held a world of secrets, and as he approached, Akiko felt a shiver of anticipation dance along her spine. "Lady Akiko," he greeted, his voice a low murmur that blended with the whisper of the wind. "It seems the night has woven its spell on us both." She inclined her head in acknowledgement, her gaze steady as she met his eyes. "The night is a realm of dreams and mysteries, Satoshi. It calls to those who are willing to listen." He smiled, a fleeting expression that hinted at the depths he kept hidden. "And what dreams does it whisper to you, my lady?" Akiko considered his question, her mind a kaleidoscope of thoughts and emotions. "It speaks of courage and destiny, of paths yet to be walked and stories yet to be told." Satoshi nodded, his expression thoughtful. "The court is a place of shadows and light, where truth and illusion dance in a delicate balance. It takes a wise heart to navigate its intricacies." As they spoke, a sense of kinship blossomed between them, an unspoken understanding that transcended words. In Satoshi, Akiko saw a reflection of her own journey, a fellow seeker of truths hidden behind the veils of the known. "The Emperor values your wisdom, Lady Akiko," Satoshi said, his tone sincere. "Your presence brings a light to the court that many have come to cherish." Her heart swelled with warmth at his words, a gentle affirmation of the path she had chosen. "I am but a part of this world, Satoshi, a thread in the tapestry of our lives. We all have our roles to play." They stood in silence for a moment, the night enveloping them in its tranquil embrace. It was a moment of connection, of shared understanding, where the boundaries of their roles faded into the background, leaving only the essence of who they were. With a final nod, Satoshi took his leave, his footsteps receding into the shadows. Akiko watched him go, her heart a steady rhythm in the quiet night. She knew that the path before her was fraught with challenges and uncertainty, but she was not afraid. She had found strength in the bonds she had forged, in the friendships and alliances that wove her into the fabric of the court. As the first light of dawn began to tint the horizon with hues of pink and gold, Akiko returned to her chambers, her spirit renewed and her purpose clear. The day awaited, a canvas upon which the story of her life, each brushstroke a testament to her journey. She embraced the coming day with open arms, her heart a symphony of hope and determination. The world was hers to explore, a realm of infinite possibilities waiting to be discovered. And as the sun rose, casting its golden light across the land, Akiko knew that she was ready to embrace the future, one step at a time, her path illuminated by the dreams she held within her heart. The morning unfolded with a gentle grace, as if the very air in Akiko's chamber had been imbued with the serenity of a tranquil pond. The shoji screens glowed softly, filtering the burgeoning daylight into delicate patterns across the tatami mats. It was a quiet symphony, the soft rustling of paper against wood, the distant call of a crane echoing from the gardens, and the whispering breeze that carried the scent of cherry blossoms through the open window. Akiko rose from her futon with a sense of purpose that belied the tranquility of the morning. Her movements were deliberate, each gesture a practiced art. She slipped into her kimono, a cascade of silken fabric that enveloped her in shades of rich indigo and subtle gold, as though dawn itself had woven its hues into the cloth. Her obi, a masterpiece of craftsmanship, embraced her waist with the firm support of tradition, a reminder of the legacy she carried. As she prepared for the day, Akiko's thoughts wandered to the stories she had heard the previous night, the whispered secrets and veiled truths that danced around the court like shadows in the moonlight. These were the threads that wove her world, each secret a potential ally, each truth a stepping stone on the path she walked. She knew that within the walls of the palace, knowledge was power, and she intended to wield it with wisdom and grace. The morning rituals were a time of reflection, a chance to center herself amid the swirling currents of court life. As she performed the tea ceremony, her hands moved with the fluidity of water, each motion precise and mindful. The steam rose from the bowl in ethereal swirls, dissipating into the air like dreams taking flight. She savored the moment, the earthy aroma of matcha grounding her, a reminder of the simplicity and purity she cherished amidst the opulence surrounding her. With the tea ceremony complete, Akiko stepped into the garden, where the world seemed to hold its breath in reverence to the beauty that unfolded with the dawn. The cherry blossoms were in full bloom, a cascade of pink petals that fluttered down like gentle rain. She walked along the stone path, the gravel crunching softly beneath her feet, each step a meditation, a reaffirmation of her place within this delicate balance of power and beauty. The garden was a sanctuary, a refuge where she could momentarily escape the watchful eyes and whispered judgments of the court. Here, she was free to dream and scheme, to nurture the seeds of her ambitions in the fertile soil of her imagination. It was a place of solace and strategy, where she could ponder the future and her role within it. As she walked, Akiko's mind drifted to the alliances she had begun to form, the friendships that had grown from shared smiles and mutual respect. There was Lady Masako, whose wisdom and wit had been a guiding light in the often treacherous waters of court politics. They had spent many afternoons in discourse, their conversations rich with laughter and insight, a tapestry of shared experiences that bound them together in trust. Then there was Lord Haruto, a strategist with a mind as sharp as a katana, whose counsel had proven invaluable. Their discussions were a dance of intellect, each exchange a sparring match that left her invigorated and inspired. In him, she had found a kindred spirit, someone who understood the delicate art of navigating the intricate web of loyalties and rivalries that defined their world. As she reflected on these connections, Akiko felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was not alone in her journey. She was part of a larger narrative, a story that was still being written. The alliances she forged were the brushstrokes that added depth and color to her life, a testament to the strength she had found in unity. The morning passed in a gentle cadence, the sun climbing higher in the sky, casting its warm glow across the palace grounds. Akiko returned to her chambers, where she was met by her attendant, Suki, a young girl with eyes like the sea after a storm, full of depth and mystery. "Lady Akiko, the court summons you for the midday gathering," Suki announced, her voice a melodic whisper that carried the weight of duty and expectation. Akiko nodded, acknowledging the call to the Grand Hall, a place where the pulse of the palace beat strongest, where decisions were made and destinies forged. She took a moment to collect herself, her mind a tapestry of thoughts and plans, each thread a possibility, a path yet to be explored. The Grand Hall was a testament to the artistry and grandeur of the era, its soaring ceilings adorned with intricate carvings of dragons and phoenixes, symbols of power and rebirth. Sunlight streamed through the latticed windows, casting geometric patterns onto the polished wooden floors, a dance of light and shadow that mirrored the intricate dynamics within. As she entered, Akiko was greeted by a chorus of voices, the conversations weaving a complex melody that filled the air. She moved with grace and poise, her presence commanding attention, her demeanor a blend of humility and confidence that set her apart. The gathering was alive with energy, a vibrant tapestry of silken robes and animated discussions. Lords and ladies mingled, their conversations a delicate balance of courtesy and cunning, each exchange a subtle maneuver in the ongoing dance of power and influence. Akiko navigated the room with practiced ease, her senses attuned to the undercurrents that flowed beneath the surface. She engaged in conversation, her words carefully chosen, her insights offered with a disarming smile that belied the sharpness of her mind. She listened more than she spoke, her ears attuned to the whispers that held the keys to understanding the shifting allegiances and ambitions that shaped their world. As the midday sun reached its zenith, casting a golden glow through the hall, Akiko found herself in conversation with Lord Hiroshi, a man whose presence was as commanding as a mountain, his words measured and deliberate. He spoke of the recent tensions with a neighboring province, his voice a steady river that carried the weight of generations. "The winds of change blow fiercely, Lady Akiko," he mused, his eyes searching hers for understanding. "We stand at a crossroads, and the path we choose will define the future of our land." Akiko met his gaze, her mind a whirlwind of thoughts and possibilities. She understood the gravity of his words, the delicate balance they walked between peace and conflict, growth and stagnation. It was a moment of clarity, a realization that the choices they made would ripple through the fabric of their society, shaping the destiny of those who followed. In that moment, Akiko felt the weight of her own aspirations, the dreams she had nurtured within the confines of the palace walls. She knew that the path before her was fraught with challenges and uncertainty, but she was not afraid. She had found strength in the bonds she had forged, in the friendships and alliances that wove her into the fabric of the court. As the gathering continued, Akiko felt a sense of resolve flowering within her, a determination to navigate the currents of change with wisdom and grace. She was a part of this intricate dance, a player in a game as old as time, and she was ready to embrace the challenge, to write her own story amidst the swirling tides of history. With the sun descending toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the hall, Akiko knew that the day was far from over. The evening would bring new opportunities, new challenges, and she was prepared to meet them head-on, her heart a symphony of hope and determination. The world was hers to explore, a realm of infinite possibilities waiting to be discovered. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of twilight, Akiko knew that her journey was just beginning, each step illuminated by the dreams she held within her heart. As the twilight hues deepened into a velvety indigo, the palace grounds took on an ethereal glow, lanterns flickering to life like a constellation of stars fallen to earth. The air was fragrant with the scent of blooming jasmine, mingling with the crispness of the evening breeze. It was a time of transition, where the frenetic energy of the day gave way to the quiet mystery of night, and Akiko found solace in this shift. The evening banquet was a spectacle of opulence, a display of wealth and power that dazzled the senses. Guests clad in silk and brocade moved with the grace of swans, their laughter a gentle murmur beneath the strains of shamisen music that wove through the air like a silken thread. Akiko moved among them, her presence as fluid and serene as the ripples on a moonlit pond. Her kimono, a cascade of deep azure embroidered with silver cranes, mirrored the night sky both in hue and elegance. As she glided through the hall, Akiko was acutely aware of the myriad of glances that followed her. Some were admiring, others appraising, each pair of eyes a reminder of her place in this intricate tapestry. She had learned long ago to navigate these waters with a practiced ease, her smile a perfect mask of serenity. Behind it lay a mind ever vigilant, attuned to the subtle shifts in conversation and the undercurrents of courtly intrigue. Her path led her to a small alcove where a group of women gathered, their voices soft yet animated. Akiko recognized them as fellow concubines and ladies-in-waiting, their faces familiar, their presence a comforting reminder of shared experiences and whispered confidences exchanged in the quiet hours of the night. They greeted her with a warmth that belied the competitive nature of their lives, a testament to the bonds they had nurtured amidst the rivalries of the court. Akiko-san, one of them, a woman named Hana, beckoned with a gentle smile. "Join us. We were just discussing the latest news from the western provinces." Akiko settled among them, the conversation flowing around her like a bubbling stream. They spoke of politics and poetry, of family and fortune, their words a tapestry of the world they inhabited. Yet beneath the surface lay a deeper current, an unspoken understanding of the precariousness of their positions, of the delicate balance they maintained in a world where favor could shift as quickly as the wind. The conversation turned to the latest rumors, tales spun from whispers and shadows, half-truths and possibilities. Akiko listened intently, her mind a careful sieve, sifting through the words for nuggets of truth and insight. In the court, knowledge was power, and she wielded it with the deftness of a master swordsman. As the evening wore on, the music shifted to a more plaintive tune, the notes weaving a spell of nostalgia and longing. Akiko found herself drawn to the garden beyond the hall, the lantern-lit path beckoning like a trail of fireflies. She slipped away from the gathering, seeking the solitude and solace of the night. The garden was a sanctuary, a place where the artificial constructs of the court fell away, leaving only the raw beauty of nature. Akiko wandered among the cherry trees, their blossoms a pale, ghostly white in the moonlight. The air was cool and refreshing, a balm for her weary spirit. She paused by a small koi pond, the water a mirror reflecting the moon's silvery face. The fish moved beneath the surface, their colors muted in the night, yet vibrant in their fluid grace. Akiko watched them for a while, her mind drifting on the currents of her thoughts. It was here, in this quiet moment, that she allowed herself to dream. She imagined a life beyond the palace walls, a world where she was free to choose her own path, to love and live without the constraints of duty and expectation. It was a tantalizing fantasy, one that she cherished, even as she knew it was unlikely to ever come to pass. The sound of footsteps on the gravel path drew her attention, and she turned to see a familiar figure approaching. It was Norio, a young samurai with whom she had shared many an evening in conversation. There was an easy camaraderie between them, a mutual respect that transcended the barriers of rank and station. "Norio-san," she greeted him with a nod, her voice a gentle ripple in the stillness. "What brings you to the garden on such a night?" He smiled, a flash of white teeth in the shadows. "The same as you, I imagine, a moment of peace in the midst of chaos." They stood side by side, gazing at the pond, their silence a comfortable cloak around them. With Norio, Akiko felt no need for pretense or artifice. He saw her as she was, and in his presence, she could simply be. "Do you ever wonder," he said, his voice a low murmur, What our lives would be like if we were not bound by duty. Akiko considered his words, the question resonating within her. Often, she admitted, her tone reflective. But in our world, duty is as inescapable as the tides. Norio nodded, his expression thoughtful. Yet even the tides can be redirected, given time and effort. His words hung in the air, a tantalizing possibility that set her heart to racing. Could it be true? Could they, through their own actions and choices, shape their destinies beyond the confines of their roles? The idea was both exhilarating and daunting, a flame of hope flickering in the darkness. Akiko turned to Norio, her gaze steady, her resolve crystallizing in the cool night air. Perhaps, she said softly, the first step is to believe that change is possible. He met her eyes, his own filled with a quiet determination that mirrored her own. And the second is to take action. They stood there, two souls united in their quest for something more, their dreams an unspoken promise between them. The night stretched on, the future a vast ocean of possibilities waiting to be explored. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, Akiko knew that the journey ahead would be fraught with challenges and uncertainties. But with resolve as her compass and hope as her guide, she was ready to navigate the uncharted waters of her destiny, one step at a time. The morning arrived with a symphony of subtle sounds, the gentle rustle of bamboo leaves, whispering secrets to the wind, the soft call of a distant cuckoo, and the quiet murmur of the stream that wound its way through the gardens of the Hanamura estate. Akiko awoke to these familiar melodies, her heart still thrumming with the echoes of the night's revelations. The world seemed somehow different, the colors richer, the air crisper, as if the universe itself had shifted in response to her newfound resolve. She rose from her futon, the silk of her kimono cool against her skin, and moved with grace and purpose through the delicate paper screens of her chamber. The light of dawn cast a gentle glow through the shoji, painting her surroundings in hues of soft gold and muted pink. Outside, the cherry blossoms were in full bloom, their petals a cascade of pale pink snow, a fleeting beauty that reminded her of the transience of life. Akiko made her way to the garden, her footsteps silent on the polished wooden floors. She paused at the edge of the veranda, breathing in the crisp morning air, her senses alive with the scent of damp earth and blooming flowers. The garden was a sanctuary, a place where she often found solace and clarity. Today, it felt like a stage set for the unfolding drama of her life. As she wandered among the carefully tended paths, her thoughts drifted back to her conversation with Norio. The idea of shaping her own destiny was both thrilling and terrifying, a delicate balance of hope and fear. She knew that the path she was considering would be fraught with obstacles, each step a challenge to the rigid confines of the world she inhabited. But there was also a deep sense of exhilaration, a feeling that she was on the brink of something extraordinary. Her musings were interrupted by the sound of footsteps approaching. She turned to see Miko, one of the younger concubines, making her way towards her. Miko's presence was like a burst of sunshine, her youthful energy and optimism a balm to the soul. She wore a bright smile, her eyes alight with curiosity. "Akiko-san?" Miko greeted her, bowing respectfully. "I hope I'm not disturbing you." "Not at all, Miko-chan," Akiko replied, returning the bow. "It is always a pleasure to see you." Miko's eyes sparkled with mischief. "I heard rumors of a secret meeting last night. You and Norio-sama, under the stars. Is it true?" Akiko felt a blush rise to her cheeks, a mixture of embarrassment and amusement. "You have ears everywhere, young one. Yes, we spoke, but it was nothing more than a conversation between friends." Miko laughed, a sound like tinkling bells. Of course. But still, it is exciting, is it not? To think that we might have the power to change our own lives." Akiko nodded, her expression turning serious. "It is exciting, but it is also not without risk. We must be cautious, Miko. The world we live in does not readily accept change." Miko's smile dimmed slightly, but her eyes remained bright with determination. "I understand, Akiko-san, but I believe that if anyone can make a difference, it is you." Touched by the younger woman's faith in her, Akiko reached out to squeeze her hand. "Thank you, Miko. Your support means more to me than you know." They stood together for a moment, the silence between them a testament to their shared understanding. Then Miko, with her characteristic enthusiasm, began to chatter about the day's events, the upcoming festival preparations, and the latest gossip from the servants' quarters. Akiko listened with half an ear, her mind still turning over the possibilities that lay ahead. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the tranquility of the morning gave way to the bustling activity of the estate. The festival of Hanami, the celebration of cherry blossoms, was approaching, and the entire household was caught up in the preparations. Courtiers and servants alike moved with purpose, their voices mingling in a chorus of anticipation. Akiko found herself swept up in the flurry of activity, her duties as a concubine demanding her attention. She donned the vibrant silks and elaborate hair ornaments befitting her status, each layer a reminder of the role she played in this intricate dance of power and tradition. Yet beneath the layers of fabric and decorum, her heart beat with a quiet defiance, a small rebellion against the constraints of her existence. Throughout the day, she caught glimpses of Norio, their gazes meeting across crowded rooms, each glance a silent reminder of their shared resolve. In those fleeting moments, Akiko felt a sense of camaraderie, a bond forged in the fires of their mutual determination. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the landscape, the household gathered in the gardens for the evening's festivities. Lanterns were lit, their soft glow illuminating the blossoms overhead, transforming the garden into a realm of ethereal beauty. The air was filled with laughter and music, the sweet strains of the koto mingling with the scent of plum wine and grilled fish. Akiko moved through the crowd with practiced grace, her presence a carefully crafted illusion of serenity. Yet beneath the surface, her mind was a whirlwind of thoughts and emotions, each one a thread in the tapestry of her burgeoning rebellion. She found Norio standing near a small pond, the water reflecting the flickering lights of the lanterns. He turned as she approached, his expression one of quiet intensity. They stood together in silence, the world around them fading into the background, their connection a living, breathing thing. "Are you ready?" Norio asked, his voice low, meant only for her ears. Akiko met his gaze, her heart steady, her resolve unshakable. "I am ready," she replied, the words a vow, a promise to herself and to the world she was determined to change. Together they turned to face the future, their hearts entwined in a dance of hope and courage. In that moment, under the cherry blossoms, they were not merely players in a grand drama, but authors of their own fate, ready to write a new chapter in the story of their lives. The night stretched before them, a canvas of endless possibilities, and Akiko knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with courage and conviction. For she was no longer just a concubine in a gilded cage, but a woman with dreams and desires, a spirit unbound, ready to claim her place in the world. And as the last of the cherry blossoms drifted to the ground, Akiko felt a sense of peace, a quiet certainty that this was only the beginning. The journey ahead was unknown, the path uncharted, but she would walk it, with her head held high, her heart a beacon of hope in the darkness. As the first light of dawn crept across the horizon, painting the sky with hues of soft pink and gold, Akiko stood at the threshold of her new beginning. The air was crisp and cool, filled with the fragrance of cherry blossoms that lingered like a sweet promise in the early morning breeze. She breathed deeply, letting the scent fill her lungs, invigorating her spirit for the journey ahead. Beside her, Hiroshi stood silent yet resolute, his presence a comforting weight in the uncertainty that lay before them. His eyes, dark as polished obsidian, reflected the same determination that burned within her. Together, they embodied the quiet strength of two souls who had dared to dream beyond the confines of their prescribed roles. The path before them twisted and turned, disappearing into the shadowy depths of the forest that bordered the estate. It was a path seldom trodden, whispered about in hushed tones, a secret passageway that promised freedom to those brave enough to tread its hidden course. Akiko felt a thrill of anticipation as they stepped forward, each footfall a drumbeat of defiance against the chains of tradition that had bound her for so long. The world around them was a symphony of sound and color, the forest alive with the calls of birds greeting the new day, the rustle of leaves whispering secrets carried on the wind. Akiko could feel the earth beneath her feet, solid and reassuring, grounding her in the present moment, even as her thoughts danced ahead to the future. Their journey was not without its challenges. The forest was dense, the path winding and treacherous, with roots that snaked across the ground like ancient serpents waiting to trip the unwary traveler. But Akiko moved with a grace born of years spent navigating the intricacies of court life, her every step a testament to her adaptability and resilience. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting dappled patterns of light and shadow through the canopy of leaves, Akiko and Hiroshi paused to rest beside a babbling brook. The water was clear and cool, a soothing balm to the heat of the day, and Akiko took a moment to wash her face, feeling the refreshing touch of the water, revitalizing her spirit. It was in these quiet moments that Akiko found herself reflecting on the journey that had brought her to this point. She thought of the gilded cage she had once called home, the courtly intrigues and whispered machinations that had shaped her life. She thought of the other concubines, their laughter and tears echoing through the halls like ghostly reminders of lives lived in shadows. But most of all, she thought of the dreams that had sustained her, the visions of a life lived on her own terms. And as she gazed at her reflection in the water, she saw not the concubine she had been, but the woman she was becoming, strong, determined, and unafraid. Hiroshi, sensing her introspection, reached out to take her hand, his touch a gentle reminder that she was not alone in this journey. Together, they sat in companionable silence, the bonds of their shared purpose weaving a tapestry of trust and understanding between them. As they resumed their journey, the forest began to thin, the trees giving way to rolling hills and fields that stretched as far as the eye could see. The land was lush and vibrant, a testament to the fertility of the region, and Akiko felt a surge of hope at the sight. This was the land of her ancestors, a place rich with history and tradition, yet filled with the promise of new beginnings. The village that lay ahead was nestled in a valley, its thatched roofs and winding streets a picturesque tableau against the backdrop of towering mountains. Akiko felt a sense of belonging as they approached, the village a reminder of simpler times, a place where life was lived in harmony with nature and the seasons. The villagers greeted them with a mixture of curiosity and caution, their eyes assessing yet kind. Akiko and Hiroshi were strangers here, outsiders from a world that seemed distant and unreal in the face of the village's rustic charm. Yet there was a warmth in the villagers' smiles, a recognition of shared humanity that transcended the boundaries of class and status. As they settled into their new surroundings, Akiko found herself drawn into the rhythms of village life. She learned to tend the fields, her hands becoming calloused and strong as she worked the earth, planting and harvesting alongside the other women. She found solace in the simple tasks, the repetitive motions grounding her in the present, allowing her to leave behind the complexities of her former life. In the evenings, the villagers would gather around communal fires, sharing stories and songs that spoke of love and loss, of dreams and desires. Akiko listened, her heart swelling with a newfound sense of community and belonging. Here, she was not a concubine or an outsider, but simply Akiko, a woman with hopes and dreams, a part of something greater than herself. Yet even as she embraced this new life, Akiko remained aware of the challenges that lay ahead. The path she had chosen was not an easy one, fraught with obstacles and uncertainties. But she faced each day with courage and determination, her heart a steady beacon guiding her through the darkness. There were moments of doubt, times when the weight of her past threatened to pull her back into the shadows. But in those moments, she found strength in the memories of the cherry blossoms, the symbols of renewal and rebirth that had marked the beginning of her journey. As the seasons turned and the days lengthened into summer, Akiko and Hiroshi found themselves more deeply entwined in the fabric of village life. They became a part of the community, their presence accepted and welcomed, their contributions valued and appreciated. And in this new life, Akiko discovered a fulfillment she had never known, a sense of purpose and belonging that filled her heart with joy. Yet the world beyond the village continued to turn, the currents of change swirling just beyond the horizon. Akiko knew that her journey was far from over, that the challenges she faced were but stepping stones on the path to a brighter future. But she faced the unknown with courage and conviction, her heart a flame of hope that burned brightly against the darkness. And so, as the sun set on another day, casting the world in a golden glow, Akiko stood at the edge of the fields, her gaze fixed on the distant mountains. The journey ahead was uncertain, the path uncharted, but she was ready to face it with strength and determination. For she was no longer just a concubine in a gilded cage, but a woman with dreams and desires, a spirit unbound, ready to claim her place in the world. And as the last light of day faded into twilight, Akiko knew that this was only the beginning, a new chapter in the story of her life, waiting to be written. The moon rose slowly, a silver lantern in the vast indigo sky, casting its gentle light over the landscape. Akiko lingered at the edge of the fields, her thoughts drifting like the soft petals of cherry blossoms carried by a spring breeze. The air was cool and crisp, imbued with the earthy scent of freshly tilled soil and the distant, comforting aroma of pine smoke from the village hearths. As she stood in the tranquil embrace of dusk, Akiko's mind wandered back to the days of her youth, before the confines of the palace walls had enveloped her life. Her memories were like faded brushstrokes on an ancient scroll, tinged with both the warmth of nostalgia and the chill of sorrow. She remembered the laughter of her siblings, the gentle wisdom of her grandmother, and the vibrant festivals that painted the seasons with color and song. But those days had slipped away like sand through her fingers, replaced by the rigid structure of court life, where her role was defined by duty and decorum. Yet, even within the confines of her gilded cage, Akiko had found moments of beauty and grace, like the delicate patterns of frost on a winter morning. She had learned the art of subtlety, the power of quiet strength, and the resilience of the heart. Now, as she gazed toward the mountains, their peaks shrouded in mystery and shadow, Akiko felt a stirring within her soul, a call to adventure, to discovery, to a life untethered by the chains of expectation. The world beyond the village whispered to her, a siren song of possibilities yet unseen. With a deep breath, she turned away from the fields, her footsteps guided by the moon's gentle glow. The path back to the village was familiar, the stones worn smooth by generations of travelers. As she walked, the night wrapped around her like a silken shawl, its stillness broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves or the distant call of a night bird. Upon reaching the outskirts of the village, Akiko paused, her gaze drawn to a small shrine nestled beneath an ancient cherry tree. The shrine was modest, its wooden structure weathered by time, but it exuded a quiet dignity, a testament to the enduring spirit of the land and its people. Akiko knelt before the shrine, her heart a tapestry of hopes and fears, dreams and doubts. She closed her eyes, allowing the cool night air to wash over her, carrying with it the whispers of the past and the promises of the future. In that moment of stillness, she offered a silent prayer, not for guidance or protection, but for courage. The courage to embrace the unknown, to forge her path with confidence and grace. As she rose, the moon cast a gentle light upon her face, illuminating the determination etched in her features. She knew that her journey would not be easy, that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges and uncertainties. But she also knew that she was ready to face whatever lay ahead, her spirit a beacon of hope and resilience. Back in the village, the streets were quiet, the houses darkened as their inhabitants sought rest from the day's labors. Akiko moved with purpose, her footsteps echoing softly in the night. She made her way to the small inn where she had taken shelter, its warm glow a welcoming sight amidst the shadows. Inside, the common room was dimly lit, the embers of the hearth casting flickering shadows on the walls. Akiko was greeted by the innkeeper, a kind woman with a gentle smile and eyes that held the wisdom of years. They exchanged a few words, the quiet camaraderie of kindred spirits, before Akiko retired to her room. The room was simple, yet comforting, its tatami mats and paper screens imbued with the warmth of home. Akiko settled onto the futon, her mind still alive with the echoes of the day. She thought of the boy she had met in the fields, his laughter a reminder of innocence and joy. She thought of the village, its people resilient and strong, their lives woven together like the threads of a tapestry. As she drifted into sleep, the whispers of the past mingled with the dreams of the future, creating a kaleidoscope of images and emotions. She dreamt of the mountains, their peaks bathed in the golden light of dawn, and of a path that wound its way through forests and fields, leading to destinations unknown. In her dreams, she was free to explore, to discover, to live a life unbound by the constraints of her past. And as the night wore on, the boundaries between dream and reality blurred, leaving her with a sense of peace and purpose. When the first light of dawn crept into the room, painting the walls with hues of rose and gold, Akiko awoke with a newfound clarity. She rose quietly, her movements fluid and deliberate, and made her way to the window. The village was still shrouded in the gentle embrace of morning mist, a world of possibilities waiting to unfold. Akiko knew that today marked the beginning of a new journey, one that would take her beyond the village and into the heart of the unknown. She felt a thrill of anticipation, tempered by the weight of responsibility. But she welcomed the challenge with open arms. She dressed quickly, her attire chosen for practicality rather than elegance, and gathered her belongings. Before leaving, she paused to offer a final prayer at the small altar in her room, a gesture of gratitude and hope. With a determined stride, Akiko stepped out into the dawn, the path ahead illuminated by the soft glow of the rising sun. She walked through the village, her heart light with the promise of adventure and the knowledge that she was no longer defined by her past, but by the choices she made and the dreams she pursued. As she left the village behind, the mountains loomed ever closer, their majesty a reminder of the vastness of the world and the endless possibilities it held. Akiko's heart swelled with hope, her spirit a flame that burned brightly against the encroaching darkness. For she was Akiko, a woman of strength and courage, a soul unbound by the constraints of her past. And as she journeyed into the unknown, she carried with her the legacy of those who had come before, their wisdom and resilience etched into the very fabric of her being. The world awaited her, a canvas upon which to paint the story of her life, a story of dreams and desires, of challenges and triumphs, a story that was uniquely her own. And as she walked into the light of a new day, Akiko knew that this was only the beginning, a beginning filled with promise and possibility, a future waiting to be claimed. As the first light of dawn kissed the horizon, Akiko's feet moved rhythmically upon the path, each step a silent beat in the symphony of her awakening life. The air was cool and crisp, laden with the earthy scent of dew-kissed leaves and the faint, lingering aroma of cherry blossoms from a grove nearby. Her sandaled feet felt the gentle embrace of the earth, the ground soft and welcoming beneath her as she ventured deeper into the mysteries that lay ahead. The mountains, majestic and ancient, stood like sentinels guarding secrets untold. Their peaks brushed against the sky, cloaked in a veil of mist that shimmered in the gentle embrace of the morning sun. Akiko paused for a moment, drawing in a deep breath, savoring the purity of the air that filled her lungs, invigorating and soothing all at once. The world around her felt alive, pulsating with a rhythm that resonated deep within her soul. With each step, memories of her past life as a concubine in the opulent courts of feudal Japan began to dissolve, like morning mist burned away by the rising sun. The opulence, the whispers, the delicate dance of power and submission, each memory was a thread in the tapestry of her past, but now they unraveled, leaving her with a sense of liberation and renewal. The path wound its way through a dense forest, the trees towering above like ancient guardians, their leaves whispering secrets to the wind. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting dappled shadows that danced playfully around her. Akiko felt a sense of belonging here, as if the forest recognized her as one of its own, a wanderer on a journey of self-discovery. As she walked, the forest began to reveal its hidden treasures. A stream babbled cheerfully nearby, its waters crystal clear, reflecting the azure sky above. Akiko knelt by its side, cupping her hands to drink, the water cool and refreshing against her lips. It was a simple pleasure, a reminder of the beauty in the ordinary, a moment to be savored. The sound of birdsong filled the air, a melodic chorus that spoke of freedom and joy. Akiko closed her eyes, letting the music wash over her, feeling it seep into her very being. The world felt alive with possibility, every sound, every scent, a note in the symphony of her journey. Yet, amidst the tranquility, there was an undercurrent of suspense, a whisper of the unknown that stirred her senses. The path ahead was shrouded in mystery, promising both challenges and discoveries. Akiko felt a thrill of anticipation, her heart quickening at the thought of what lay beyond the next bend. In the distance, the forest began to thin, giving way to a meadow bathed in sunlight. Wildflowers bloomed in a riot of colors, their delicate petals swaying gently in the breeze. Akiko walked among them, her fingers brushing against the blossoms, feeling the softness of their petals beneath her touch. Here, in this meadow, time seemed to stand still, a suspended moment of peace and beauty. But it was not long before the serenity was interrupted by a rustle in the underbrush. Akiko's senses sharpened, her body instinctively alert to the presence of another. She turned, her eyes scanning the forest's edge, and there, emerging from the shadows, was a figure cloaked in a robe of deep indigo, a color that whispered of the sea at twilight. The figure moved with a grace that spoke of years of discipline, each step deliberate, as if the earth itself welcomed their presence. As they drew nearer, Akiko could discern the subtle features of a face framed by the hood of the cloak. Their eyes, dark and enigmatic, met hers with an intensity that both challenged and intrigued her. "Greetings, traveler," the figure spoke, their voice a gentle murmur, as soothing as the stream's song. "What brings you to these lands, where the mountains meet the sky?" Akiko held their gaze, feeling a connection that transcended words, a sense of recognition, as if she had known this stranger in another life. "I seek a new beginning," she replied, her voice steady, infused with the strength that had carried her this far, a journey beyond the confines of my past. The figure nodded, a slow, deliberate gesture that seemed to acknowledge the weight of her words. "The path you tread is one few dare to follow. It is a journey of the spirit, a dance with destiny itself." Akiko felt a shiver run down her spine, not of fear, but of excitement, as if the very air around her had become electric with possibility. "And who are you, to speak of such things?" she asked, curiosity piqued by the stranger's presence, a mystery wrapped in layers of enigma. "I am but a guide," the figure replied, their voice a soothing balm. "A traveler of paths untold, a seeker of truths hidden in the shadow and the light. If you wish, I can accompany you for a time share with you stories of the lands and the lessons they hold." Akiko considered the offer, her heart torn between the solitude she had grown accustomed to and the allure of companionship on her journey. The mountains whispered their approval, the forest sighed in agreement, and she knew that this was an opportunity not to be missed. "Very well," she agreed, a smile playing upon her lips as she extended her hand. "Let us walk this path together and see where it leads." With a nod, the figure took her hand, their grip firm and reassuring. Together they continued along the path, their footsteps a harmonious duet, their spirits intertwined in a dance of discovery. The hours slipped by, the sun tracing its arc across the sky, casting long shadows as it kissed the earth with its golden light. Along the way, the guide spoke of ancient legends and forgotten tales, their words weaving a tapestry of history and wonder. Akiko listened, captivated by the stories, each one a thread in the vast fabric of the world. As they traveled, a bond began to form, a connection born of shared experience and mutual respect. The guide, with their enigmatic presence and gentle wisdom, became a beacon of light along Akiko's path, illuminating the way forward with stories and insights that resonated deep within her soul. Yet, even as they journeyed together, Akiko knew that the path she walked was ultimately her own, a journey of self-discovery and transformation, a quest for freedom and fulfillment. The mountains loomed ever closer, their peaks beckoning her onward, a promise of the unknown and the adventures that lay in wait. And so, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and rose, Akiko continued her journey, her spirit unyielding, her heart open to the wonders of the world. With each step, she moved closer to her destiny, a woman of strength and courage, forging a path through the tapestry of life, a path uniquely her own. As the first light of dawn broke across the horizon, Akiko awoke to the soft whisper of the wind through the trees, a gentle reminder of the world she was beginning to understand anew. The morning air was crisp, carrying with it the scent of pine and earth, a fragrant blend that invigorated her senses and filled her with a quiet determination. Her dreams from the night before lingered in her mind, fleeting images of cherry blossoms and serene lakes, reflections of her innermost hopes and fears. The guide, whose name was still unknown to her, had already risen, tending to a small fire that crackled softly in the morning stillness. Their presence was a steady anchor in the ever-shifting landscape of Akiko's journey, a reminder that while she traveled alone in spirit, she was never truly isolated. The guide's enigmatic demeanor was both comforting and intriguing, their silent wisdom a source of endless fascination for Akiko. "Today, we will cross into the high mountains," the guide said, their voice a gentle ripple in the cool air. "There, you will find the answers you seek, or perhaps the questions you did not know you carried." Akiko nodded, feeling the weight of those words settle into her bones. She gathered her belongings, each item a piece of her past that she carried forward into this new chapter of her life. The silk kimono that once symbolized her role as a concubine now felt like a second skin, a reminder of both her former life and the strength she had found within it. As they set off, the path wound upward, climbing steadily into the embrace of the mountains. The landscape transformed around them, shifting from lush forests to rocky outcrops and narrow passes that offered breathtaking views of the world below. The mountains, majestic and eternal, stood as silent witnesses to her journey, their peaks kissed by clouds that drifted lazily across the sky. With each step, Akiko felt a growing sense of liberation, as if the burdens of her past were gradually being lifted from her shoulders. The path was challenging, demanding her full attention and resilience, yet it also offered moments of pure beauty. Wildflowers peeking through cracks in the rock, the distant call of a hawk soaring on the wind, the sun casting golden light across the valley below. As they climbed higher, the air grew cooler, and Akiko wrapped her kimono tighter around her body, savoring the warmth it provided. Her breath formed small clouds in the crisp air, a visible testament to her perseverance and determination. The guide walked beside her, their footsteps steady and unfaltering, a constant reminder of the quiet strength that could be found in companionship. Around a bend in the path, they came upon a small shrine nestled against the mountainside, its presence a surprise in the rugged wilderness. The shrine was simple, yet it exuded a sense of sacredness and peace. Akiko felt drawn to it, as if the spirits of the mountains themselves were calling out to her. She approached the shrine with reverence, feeling the pull of something greater than herself, a connection to the earth, to the divine, to the countless souls who had walked this path before her. She knelt before the shrine, her heart filled with gratitude for the journey she was on, for the lessons learned and the ones yet to come. The guide watched silently, their expression unreadable, yet Akiko sensed their approval, their understanding of the spiritual significance of this moment. She closed her eyes, allowing herself to be enveloped by the tranquility of the shrine, the gentle rustling of leaves, and the distant murmur of a mountain stream, a soothing balm to her weary soul. In that silence, Akiko felt a flicker of clarity, a moment of insight that illuminated her path forward. She was not simply leaving behind the life she had known, but rather, she was embracing a new identity, one forged through the fires of experience and the strength of her own spirit. The mountains, with their silent grandeur, seemed to echo this revelation, their peaks a testament to the beauty and resilience of the natural world. When she rose, the guide nodded, their eyes meeting hers in a moment of shared understanding. They continued onward, the path growing steeper and more challenging, yet Akiko felt a newfound sense of purpose, a determination to see her journey through to the end. As the day wore on, the landscape shifted once more, giving way to a high alpine meadow, vibrant with wildflowers and the buzzing of bees. The air was filled with the sweet fragrance of blossoms, a reminder of the fleeting beauty of life and the importance of cherishing each moment. The guide stopped, gesturing to the meadow with a sweep of their hand. "Here, we rest," they said, their voice carrying an unspoken promise of more to come. Akiko settled onto the soft grass, feeling the sun's warmth on her face, the gentle caress of the breeze through her hair. She closed her eyes, letting herself be carried away by the symphony of nature, the birdsong and the rustling leaves a melody of life itself. In that peaceful interlude, she found herself reflecting on the journey she had undertaken, the transformation that was unfolding within her. Each step, each challenge, had brought her closer to the woman she was meant to be, strong, resilient, and unafraid to face the unknown. Yet, beneath the surface of tranquility, there lingered a hint of suspense, a sense of the unknown that lay ahead. The mountains, with their secrets and mysteries, called to her, promising both challenges and revelations. Akiko felt a thrill of anticipation, a recognition that her journey was far from over, that there were still many paths to explore, many truths to uncover. As the sun began its descent toward the horizon, casting long shadows across the meadow, Akiko rose, ready to continue her journey. The guide stood beside her, their presence a comforting reminder of the bond they had formed, a connection that transcended words and spoke to the heart. Together, they set off once more, the path leading ever onward toward the heart of the mountains and the mysteries that awaited. With each step, Akiko felt the weight of her past slip away, replaced by a sense of freedom and possibility, a recognition that her destiny was hers to shape. And so, as the day gave way to night, Akiko walked with purpose, her spirit unyielding, her heart open to the wonders of the world. She was a woman transformed, a seeker of truth and beauty, forging her own path through the tapestry of life, a path uniquely her own. The vibrant hues of twilight painted the sky in a symphony of colors, from deep indigo to the softest blush of pink, as Akiko and her guide ventured deeper into the heart of the mountains. The air was crisp and fragrant with the scent of pine and earth, a reminder of the world's ancient beauty that lay beyond the walls of the palace where she had spent so many of her days. The trail they walked was narrow and winding, flanked by towering trees that whispered secrets in the wind. Akiko felt a sense of exhilaration with each step, as if the very earth beneath her feet was urging her onward, encouraging her to leave behind the confines of her old life and embrace the unknown. The guide, a figure cloaked in mystery, moved with an ease that spoke of familiarity with the landscape. Their presence was a steadying force, a beacon in the gathering dusk. Though they exchanged few words, a silent understanding passed between them, an acknowledgement of the shared journey and the discoveries that lay ahead. As they climbed higher, the air grew cooler, and Akiko drew her shawl tighter around her shoulders. The path twisted and turned, leading them to a clearing where the world seemed to open up before them. Here, the mountains stood like silent guardians, their peaks crowned with the last golden light of the sun. It was a place of profound stillness, where time seemed to stretch out, each moment suspended in eternity. Akiko paused, taking in the majesty of the scene, her heart swelling with a sense of awe and gratitude. She closed her eyes, breathing deeply, allowing the tranquility of the place to seep into her very being. It was as if the mountains themselves were imparting their wisdom, their strength, and their resilience, whispering promises of new beginnings. The guide gestured toward a small shrine nestled against the rocks, its simple elegance a testament to the reverence of those who had come before. Together, they approached the shrine, where offerings of flowers and incense lay, tokens of devotion and respect. Akiko knelt before it, her fingers tracing the smooth, cool stone, a silent prayer forming in her mind, a prayer for guidance, for clarity, for the courage to follow the path she had chosen. In that sacred space, Akiko felt her spirit align with the universe, a tapestry woven with threads of destiny and free will. The shrine was a reminder of the balance between the known and the unknown, the visible and the unseen, a balance she was only beginning to understand. As they rose to continue their journey, a gentle breeze stirred the leaves, carrying with it the faintest chime of distant bells. Akiko turned, her eyes searching the shadows, drawn toward the sound. It was then she saw them, fireflies, dancing in the twilight, their light flickering like stars come to earth. They moved with a grace and freedom that mirrored her own heart, and she watched, mesmerized, as they wove patterns of light in the darkening sky. With renewed determination, Akiko and her guide resumed their trek, the path leading them ever deeper into the mysteries that lay ahead. The night enveloped them, a velvet cloak sprinkled with starlight, and the moon rose, casting its silver glow upon the world. Their footsteps were soft upon the earth, a rhythmic cadence that matched the beating of Akiko's heart. The silence between them was companionable, filled with the unspoken promise of revelations yet to come. Akiko felt a deep sense of peace, a certainty that she was exactly where she was meant to be, on a journey that was uniquely her own. It was then that the guide paused, their hand raised in a gesture of caution. Akiko halted, her senses alert, the stillness of the night suddenly charged with a sense of expectancy. From the shadows emerged a figure, cloaked in the same mystery that surrounded her companion. They stepped into the moonlight, their face obscured by a hood, yet their presence exuded a quiet strength, an authority that commanded respect. The guide and the stranger exchanged a nod, a silent greeting that spoke of familiarity and trust. Akiko watched, her curiosity piqued, as the stranger turned their gaze toward her, their eyes gleaming like polished obsidian in the moon's glow. "Welcome, seeker of truth." The stranger's voice was soft yet resonant, carrying an undertone of wisdom that belied their youthful appearance. "You have journeyed far to find answers, to seek the path that is yours alone. Know that you are not alone, that many have come before you, and many will follow." Akiko listened, her heart open to the stranger's words, sensing the weight of the moment, the significance of the encounter. She bowed her head in acknowledgement, words forming in her mind, questions that had lingered at the edges of her consciousness. "Why was I chosen?" she asked, her voice a mere whisper against the night. "Why me, among so many?" The stranger smiled, a gentle curve of lips that held a world of understanding. "Because you dared to ask the question, to seek beyond the confines of the known. You have the heart of a traveler, the soul of a dreamer. In your journey, you will find not only answers, but the questions that will guide you ever onward." Akiko nodded, absorbing the truth in the stranger's words, the realization that her journey was not one of destination, but of discovery, each step a revelation, each encounter a lesson. They stood together in the moonlight, the guide, the stranger, and Akiko, three figures bound by the thread of fate, woven into the tapestry of time. The mountains watched over them, silent witnesses to the unfolding of a story that had no beginning and no end, a story that was as old as the earth itself. And so, with a quiet determination, Akiko continued on her path, her spirit unyielding, her heart open to the mysteries of the world. She was a woman transformed, a seeker of truth and beauty, forging her own path through the tapestry of life, a path uniquely her own. The night embraced her, whispering secrets of the past and promises of the future, a lullaby that carried her ever onward toward the dawn of a new day. As the first light of dawn kissed the horizon, Akiko found herself immersed in the gentle embrace of morning mist, a delicate veil that cloaked the world in mystery. The air was cool and filled with the scent of wet earth and blossoming cherry trees, their petals like soft whispers of color against the muted backdrop of the awakening landscape. The path beneath her feet was a ribbon of promise, winding through the tapestry of nature, inviting her to step forward into the unknown. Akiko walked with a grace that belied her past, each step a silent testament to her newfound freedom. Her kimono fluttered like the wings of a butterfly, a cascade of silken hues that mirrored the vibrant dawn. The fabric, a gift from a time she was trying to understand, held within its threads the memories of her former life. Yet now, it felt like an armor of beauty, a shield against the shadows that lingered in her heart. The morning unfolded slowly, each moment a pearl on the string of time, as Akiko ventured deeper into the forest. The trees, ancient sentinels of wisdom, stood tall around her, their branches whispering secrets that only the wind could decipher. This sanctuary of nature was both her refuge and her guide, a place where her soul could dance freely, unfettered by the chains of expectation. As she wandered, the forest began to awaken, a symphony of life that sang with the harmony of 1,000 voices. Birds called out in a joyous chorus, their melodies weaving through the air like golden threads, while the rustling leaves played a gentle accompaniment, a soft percussion that marked the rhythm of the earth. Akiko felt herself drawn into this symphony, a participant in the dance of life, her heart beating in time with the pulse of the world around her. Yet, beneath this serene surface, there lay an undercurrent of suspense, a whisper of something yet to come. The forest, with its hidden paths and shadowed glades, held secrets that beckoned to her, promising adventure and the thrill of discovery. Akiko could sense the presence of something just beyond her sight, an unseen force that guided her steps, urging her onward through the labyrinth of trees. With each step, she felt a growing sense of anticipation, a tingling awareness that her journey was leading her towards something profound. The questions that had once clouded her mind began to crystallize, forming a constellation of understanding that pointed her toward her destiny. What had begun as a quest for freedom had transformed into a deeper exploration of self, a journey not just through the world, but into the very essence of her being. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, painting the forest with shafts of golden light, Akiko came upon a clearing, a circle of tranquility nestled within the heart of the wilderness. Here, the air was still, the silence profound, as if the world held its breath, waiting for her to step into this sacred space. She paused at the edge, her heart a flutter of anticipation, before stepping forward, her feet whispering against the soft grass. In the center of the clearing stood an ancient stone, weathered by time and veined with moss, its surface etched with enigmatic symbols. It was a monument to forgotten gods and lost traditions, a relic of a world that had slipped away into the shadows of history. Akiko approached with reverence, her fingers tracing the lines and curves of the carvings, feeling their story resonate within her soul. Here, in this quiet sanctum, the questions of her heart found voice. Who was she, beneath the veneer of roles and expectations? What did it mean to seek freedom, to forge her own path in a world that sought to define her? As she pondered these mysteries, the answers seemed to dance just out of reach, teasing her with their elusive promise. Yet in the silence, Akiko found a sense of peace, a quiet understanding that she was exactly where she needed to be. The journey was not about finding answers, but about embracing the questions, allowing them to guide her toward a deeper truth. She was a part of this world, connected to the earth and sky, the trees and stones, a thread in the great tapestry of existence. As she knelt beside the stone, Akiko closed her eyes, letting the warmth of the sun wash over her, a gentle caress that banished the shadows of doubt. She breathed deeply, inhaling the scent of the forest, feeling it fill her lungs with life and possibility. In this moment, she was free, unbound by the chains of the past, her spirit soaring on the wings of the dawn. Time slipped by, a gentle river flowing through her consciousness, carrying her on its current. The world around her was a blur of color and sound, a vibrant dance that played out beyond her closed eyelids. She felt the presence of the forest, the pulse of the earth beneath her, the whisper of the wind in her hair. It was as if the world itself was cradling her in its embrace, a mother holding her child, whispering secrets of love and life. When she finally opened her eyes, the sun had climbed to its zenith, bathing the clearing in a golden glow. Akiko rose, feeling the strength of the earth beneath her feet, the warmth of the sun on her skin. She was ready to continue her journey, to step once more into the unknown, a seeker of truth and beauty, a wanderer on the path of discovery. As she turned to leave, she felt a presence beside her, a shadow that danced at the edge of her vision. She turned, expecting to find the guide, or perhaps the stranger who had spoken such wisdom in the moonlight. But there was no one, only the gentle rustle of leaves, the whisper of the wind. Yet in her heart, she felt their presence, the unseen companions who walked with her on this journey. She was not alone, for she carried with her the spirit of the forest, the wisdom of the mountains, the truth of the stars. Each step was a prayer, each breath a promise, as she continued on her path, a living thread in the endless tapestry of life. And so, with the sun at her back and the world before her, Akiko stepped forward, a pilgrim on the road to discovery, a woman unbound by the past, her heart open to the mysteries of the future. The forest sang around her, a chorus of life and love, as she walked toward the horizon, her spirit alight with the promise of new beginnings, a dawn that held within it the endless possibility of tomorrow. The forest embraced Akiko like a mother, its arms stretching high above in a canopy of green, dappling the sun's rays into a mosaic of light upon the path. Each step she took resonated with the soft crunch of leaves, the gentle murmur of earth, as if the very ground was whispering secrets to her, ancient truths woven into the fabric of the land. The air was thick with the scent of pine and earth, a heady perfume that grounded her, pulling her deeper into the heart of this living world. She paused to breathe it in, letting the aromas fill her lungs, a reminder of the world's vastness, of the life that thrived beyond the confines of walls and duty. As she walked, she became attuned to the symphony of the forest. The birds sang in melodious cascades, their notes rising and falling like the gentle ebb of a tide. The wind joined in, a playful flute that wove through branches, rustling leaves in a gentle crescendo. Even the silence, that profound sacred pause, was a note in the music, a reminder of the spaces between, the quiet moments that held the essence of life. Akiko's senses heightened. She became aware of the subtleties around her, the coolness of the shade as she passed beneath a cedar, the warmth of sunlight as it kissed her skin, the soft caress of a breeze that seemed to carry with it the whispered laughter of spirits. She felt the forest's pulse, a slow, steady thrum that matched the rhythm of her own heart. In this place, she was neither concubine nor captive. She was simply Akiko, a woman in search of herself. The thought was liberating, a gentle unfurling of wings long kept bound. The constraints of her life, the expectations and roles that had defined her, faded into the background, leaving her free to explore the depths of her own soul. As the path meandered through the forest, Akiko's mind wandered to the stories of her ancestors, tales of samurai and scholars, poets and priests. Each had walked their own path, their lives a tapestry of choices and consequences. She wondered what stories would be told of her, what legacy she would leave behind in the annals of time. Her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden fluttering, a burst of color that danced in the air before her. A butterfly, its wings a vibrant mosaic of blues and purples, flitted into view. It lingered for a moment, hovering as if to greet her, before continuing on its journey, a silent guide leading her forward. Akiko followed, her steps light and unhurried, for she knew that in this moment there was no destination, only the journey itself. The path stretched before her, a ribbon of earth winding through the forest, each turn revealing new wonders, new mysteries waiting to be unveiled. She came upon a clearing, a sunlit glade carpeted in wildflowers that swayed gently in the breeze. It was a place of peace, a sanctuary where time seemed to pause, holding its breath in reverence. Akiko sank to the ground, the soft earth welcoming her, and closed her eyes, letting the world fade away until only the sound of her own heartbeat remained. In the quiet of the glade, her mind drifted back to the palace, to the life she had left behind. She thought of the other women, her sisters in captivity, and wondered if they, too, dreamed of escape. She hoped they would find their own paths, their own moments of clarity and freedom. Yet, even as she yearned for them, she felt a pang of guilt, a reminder of the ties that still bound her to that world. She was not free, not truly, for her heart was still tethered to the lives she had touched, the people she had known. It was a delicate balance, this dance between freedom and responsibility, and she wondered if she would ever find peace within it. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the clearing, and Akiko knew it was time to move on. She rose, brushing petals from her kimono, and continued down the path, the forest once again closing around her like a protective cloak. As the light began to fade, the forest transformed, the vibrant greens shifting to deep blues and purples, the shadows lengthening into a tapestry of mystery. Akiko felt a shiver of anticipation, a thrill that tingled down her spine, for she knew that the night held its own magic, its own secrets to reveal. The path led her to a stream, its waters glistening in the twilight like a ribbon of silver. She paused at its edge, the cool water beckoning her to pause, to reflect. She knelt and cupped her hands, letting the crystal-clear liquid slip through her fingers, a reminder of the transience of life, the fleeting nature of time. In the water's surface, she caught a glimpse of her reflection, the face of a woman transformed by her journey. There, in the depths of her own gaze, she saw the strength that had always been there, the courage that had brought her to this place. With a deep breath, Akiko rose and crossed the stream, the water cool against her ankles, a gentle caress that urged her onward. The path continued, winding through the forest, and she followed it, her heart light with hope and possibility. The night deepened, the sky a vast canvas of stars that glittered like diamonds. Akiko walked beneath them, her spirit soaring, for she knew that she was part of something greater, a thread in the fabric of the universe, her journey a note in the symphony of life. In the distance, she saw the glow of a lantern, a beacon guiding her forward, and she knew that her journey was far from over. There were still mysteries to uncover, truths to discover, and she welcomed them, for she was no longer afraid. With each step, she felt the weight of the past lift from her shoulders, replaced by the lightness of a future yet to be written. She was a wanderer, a seeker, a woman unbound, and the world lay before her, a vast expanse of untold stories and endless possibilities. And so, Akiko walked into the night, her heart open, her spirit free, her journey just beginning. The forest sang around her, a chorus of life and love, and she knew that she was home. The whispering winds of the forest cradled Akiko in their gentle embrace, each rustle of leaves a soothing lullaby that accompanied her footfalls. The night was cool, wrapping her in a silken shroud of serenity as she wandered deeper into the heart of the woodland. The moon, a guardian in the velvet sky, cast its silver gaze upon the earth, illuminating her path with a pale, ethereal glow. As she moved forward, the memories of her past life in the palace flickered like distant lanterns, echoes of a world that once held her captive. The rigid confines of her role as a concubine seemed to dissipate with each breath of the fresh night air. The delicate perfumes of cherry blossoms and pine mingled together, creating a tapestry of scents that spoke of rebirth and renewal. Akiko's thoughts returned to the Emperor's garden, a place where she often sought solace amidst the carefully manicured beauty. The koi pond, with its vibrant inhabitants gliding gracefully beneath water lilies, had been her sanctuary. The fish, with their scales shimmering like liquid gold, had reminded her of the endless cycles of life, a silent promise of change and continuity. Now, free from the garden's confines, she realized that the world itself was her garden, boundless and teeming with uncharted wonders. As the path narrowed, the forest grew denser, the trees standing like ancient sentinels, their branches weaving a canopy overhead. The air was alive with the nocturnal symphony of crickets and the occasional hoot of an owl, a melody orchestrated by unseen hands. Akiko found comfort in the sounds, each note a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things, an invisible thread binding her to the earth and sky. Her journey was one of discovery, not just of the world around her, but of the depths of her own spirit. Each step was a meditation, each breath an affirmation of her newfound freedom. The burdens of expectation and duty, once so heavy upon her shoulders, had become wisps of smoke, dispersing in the cool night breeze. The path led her to a small clearing where a stream meandered through the landscape, its surface sparkling under the moon's gentle caress. Akiko knelt beside the water, her reflection wavering in the ripples. The woman who gazed back at her was both familiar and strange, her eyes filled with a quiet determination, a promise of strength unyielded by circumstance. She cupped her hands, dipped them into the cool stream, and drank deeply, the water refreshing her spirit as much as her body. In that simple act, she felt a profound connection to the natural world, an understanding that she was but a single note in the grand melody of existence. The realization filled her with a sense of peace, a calm certainty that her place in the universe was as vital as the stars above or the earth beneath her feet. Rising, Akiko continued her journey, her senses attuned to the subtleties of the night. The rustling of leaves, the distant call of a fox, the soft patter of a light rain that began to fall. All these things became part of her, woven into the fabric of her being. She opened her arms to the rain, welcoming its cleansing touch, feeling the droplets caress her skin like tender fingers, washing away the remnants of the past. As the rain subsided, she found herself drawn towards a soft glow that permeated the darkness, a village nestled at the forest's edge. The lights flickered invitingly, promising warmth and the comfort of human connection. For a moment, she hesitated, the memories of a world that had once confined her pulling at the corners of her mind. Yet, she knew that this village was different, a place untouched by the rigid hierarchies of the court, where she could forge her own destiny. With renewed resolve, Akiko stepped from the shadows of the forest into the village's embrace. The streets were quiet, save for the occasional bark of a dog or the gentle murmur of voices carried on the wind. The houses, with their thatched roofs and wooden frames, exuded a sense of timelessness, of lives lived in quiet harmony with the land. She passed by a small inn, its windows aglow with the warm light of paper lanterns. The scent of miso soup and freshly steamed rice wafted through the air, a fragrant invitation that stirred her senses. Her stomach rumbled softly, a reminder of the simple pleasures that awaited beyond the palace walls. Inside the inn, the atmosphere was cozy and welcoming, a haven against the night's chill. The patrons, farmers and travelers alike, regarded her with a mix of curiosity and acceptance, their faces weathered by sun and toil, yet softened by the glow of camaraderie. Akiko took a seat at a low wooden table, her heart swelling with gratitude for the kindness of strangers. The innkeeper, a woman with gentle eyes and a ready smile, approached with a steaming bowl of soup, placing it before her with a nod of understanding. "You are welcome here," the innkeeper said softly, her voice a balm to Akiko's weary soul. As Akiko savored the simple meal, she listened to the conversations that flowed around her, stories of harvests and families, of hopes and dreams woven into the fabric of everyday life. She realized that in this village, she was not an outsider, but a part of a larger community, each person a thread in the tapestry of existence. The night deepened, and the inn gradually emptied, its patrons retiring to their homes, their laughter and voices lingering like echoes in the quiet room. Akiko remained, her heart full, her spirit light, for she knew that she had found a place of belonging, a refuge from the storms of the past. As she lay down upon the futon offered by the innkeeper, the events of the day played through her mind like a gentle lullaby. The forest, the stream, the village, all were chapters in the story of her life, a tale yet unfinished, but filled with promise and potential. The dreams that came were vivid and serene, a tapestry of colors and sounds that mirrored her journey. She saw herself standing at the edge of the sea, the waves lapping at her feet, the horizon stretching endlessly before her, a symbol of the infinite possibilities that awaited. And when the morning light crept through the windows, soft and golden, Akiko awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. She was no longer a concubine, bound by duty and expectation, but a woman of the world, a seeker of truths and teller of stories. Her journey was far from over, and as she stepped into the dawn, she carried with her the wisdom of the night, the knowledge that she was part of something greater, a single note in the symphony of life. The morning air, crisp with the scent of pine and earth, embraced Akiko as she stepped out into the courtyard of the inn. The world seemed to hold its breath, a perfect stillness that wrapped around her like a silken kimono. Each footfall was deliberate, a whisper against the cobblestones, as she made her way to the nearby stream that had sung her to sleep the night before. The water was a mirror, reflecting the pastel sky above, and Akiko knelt beside it, cupping her hands to capture its coolness. As she splashed her face, the droplets caught the morning light, turning her into a fleeting apparition of glistening beauty. She lingered there, feeling the gentle caress of the breeze, a reminder of the impermanence of all things, a lesson taught by the seasons themselves. Her thoughts drifted to the village she had passed through, its people kind yet curious, eyes following her with unspoken questions. She had felt their whispers like a breeze, the stories they imagined about her life as a concubine, a role that she had shed like a snake its skin. The weight of their expectations had once threatened to define her, but no longer. She was free, and with that freedom came the responsibility to carve her own path. Returning to the inn, the scent of steaming rice and miso soup greeted her, an invitation she could not refuse. The innkeeper's wife, a woman with a face like a weathered map of kindness, served her breakfast with a smile that spoke of understanding and camaraderie. They exchanged few words, for sometimes silence is the most eloquent of conversations, and Akiko felt the bond of shared womanhood, of lives woven together by the invisible threads of fate. With nourishment came clarity, and Akiko's mind turned to the journey ahead. The road was a ribbon of possibilities, leading her to places unknown, faces unseen, stories untold. She had heard of a temple nestled in the mountains, a sanctuary where the wise gathered like birds in the spring. There, perhaps, she would find the answers she sought, the guidance she craved. Her preparations were simple, a small bundle of belongings and the resolve that burned bright within her heart. As she set out, the innkeeper waved her off with a blessing, his voice carrying the warmth of 1,000 suns. She felt his words like a cloak, a shield against the uncertainties of travel. The path wound through the forest, a cathedral of towering trees and dappled light. The rustle of leaves was a symphony, the chirping of birds, the melody that accompanied her steps. Akiko's senses were alive, attuned to the rhythm of nature, the heartbeat of the earth beneath her feet. She marveled at the tapestry of life around her, each leaf and petal a testament to the beauty of creation. As the sun climbed higher, the air grew heavy with the scent of blossoms, their fragrance a sweet promise of the summer to come. Akiko paused to admire a grove of cherry trees, their branches heavy with delicate blooms. She reached out to touch a petal, its softness a reminder of her own fragility, her own strength. The hours passed like a dream, the landscape changing with each step until the path began to climb, the gentle slope becoming a steep ascent. Her breath came in measured gasps, the exertion a welcome challenge, a test of her resolve. She welcomed the burn in her muscles, the sweat that mingled with the dust of the road, for each step brought her closer to her destination. The temple emerged from the mist like a vision, its wooden structure blending with the surrounding forest, a testament to harmony between man and nature. Akiko approached with reverence, her heart a drumbeat of anticipation. The gate stood open, an invitation to enter, to explore the secrets held within. Inside, the air was cool, the silence profound. Monks moved with a grace born of years of practice, their robes whispering against stone floors. Akiko felt their eyes upon her, curious yet kind, and she returned their gazes with a nod, an acknowledgement of their shared humanity. She wandered the grounds, her footsteps leading her to a garden, a haven of tranquility amidst the towering peaks. The sound of water drew her to a pond, its surface a canvas of ripples and reflections. She sat by its edge, her thoughts as fluid as the water, her spirit as restless as the wind. Time lost its meaning in that sacred space, and Akiko found herself drawn to the temple's heart, a hall where the wise gathered to share their knowledge. She entered quietly, her presence a ripple in the calm, her heart open to the lessons she hoped to learn. The monks spoke with voices that were gentle waves, their words a river of wisdom that flowed around her, through her. They spoke of balance and harmony, of the paths we choose and those that choose us. Akiko listened with the ears of her soul, absorbing their teachings like the earth absorbs the rain. Then a monk with eyes like the night sky approached, his presence a beacon of serenity. He offered her a scroll, its parchment aged and delicate. She unrolled it carefully, the characters a dance of ink and intention. It was a poem, a meditation on life's journey, a reminder that every path is sacred, every step a prayer. Akiko felt the truth of those words resonate within her, a harmony that sang through her veins. She had thought her journey was one of discovery, of seeking something outside herself, but she realized now that the answers she sought were within, waiting to be uncovered, to be embraced. The day waned, the sun sinking behind the mountains, casting the world in a golden glow. Akiko took her leave with gratitude, her heart full of the gifts she had received. As she descended the path, the temple receding into the distance, she felt a peace she had never known, a certainty that her place in the world was not defined by her past, but by the choices she made, the paths she walked. The night embraced her once more, the stars her companions, the moon her guide. Akiko lay upon the earth, the sky a blanket of infinite possibilities, and she dreamed of the journey yet to come. The world was vast, her life a story still unfolding, and she was ready to explore its every chapter, to write her own tale of courage and wisdom, of love and freedom. As the first light of dawn painted the horizon, Akiko awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. The dew-kissed grass whispered beneath her feet as she resumed her journey, the weight of uncertainty lifted, replaced by a quiet confidence. Each step forward was a testament to her newfound understanding, each breath a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. The landscape transformed with her passage, valleys extending into verdant plains, rivers flowing with the promise of life. Along the way, she met others on their own journeys, sharing stories and laughter around flickering campfires under the starlit canopy. In their eyes, she saw reflections of her own journey, a tapestry woven from threads of shared experiences and dreams. As seasons turned and years passed, Akiko found herself returning to the places that had once been her stepping stones. The village of her childhood, the bustling markets, the serene temple, Each held echoes of her past, yet felt different now, imbued with the wisdom she had gathered. She realized that her journey had been circular, leading her back to the beginning, but with a heart and mind transformed. Standing atop a hill overlooking her village, Akiko watched as children played, their laughter carried on the wind. She smiled, knowing that every ending is but a new beginning, each moment a chance to redefine one's path. As the sun set once more, painting the sky with hues of lavender and gold, she felt an overwhelming gratitude for the journey, for the lessons learned and the love shared. With a gentle heart and a spirit unbound, Akiko embraced the future, ready to walk wherever her path might lead, to dance to the rhythm of life and to sing the song of her soul. And so, her story continued, an endless melody harmonizing with the universe, a tale of endless possibilities and boundless grace. The wind whispered secrets from the past, as if the universe itself were sharing in her reverie. Akiko closed her eyes, breathing in the crisp air, feeling the earth firm beneath her feet. She understood now that life was a tapestry, woven with threads of joy and sorrow, love and loss, each moment a vital stitch in the grand design. As the first stars began to twinkle in the twilight, she descended the hill, her heart light with the promise of what lay ahead. The path before her was unknown, yet she was unafraid, for she carried within her the wisdom of her journey and the strength of her ancestors. Returning to her village, she was greeted with warmth and familiarity, yet she knew she was no longer the same. Her eyes held a depth that spoke of distant lands and ancient truths, and those who saw her knew that she had been touched by something extraordinary. Akiko found her place among her people, sharing stories and laughter, her spirit a beacon of hope and inspiration. She knew that her journey had been but one of many, and that others would follow, each finding their own path, their own truths. And so the days turned into nights and nights into days, the cycle of life continuing its eternal dance. Akiko's heart beat in harmony with the rhythm of the world, her tale a whisper in the cosmic symphony, a reminder that every soul is a song waiting to be sung. In the quiet moments, under the vast expanse of stars, she would gaze into the heavens, feeling the pulse of the universe within her. She was a part of something greater, a single note in the melody of existence. And she knew that, wherever her journey might lead, she would always be home. And so, with grace and gratitude, Akiko's story unfolded, a testament to the beauty of life, the power of the journey, and the endless possibilities that await those who dare to dream. As the seasons shifted, Akiko found herself embracing the changes with an open heart, each transformation a whisper of time's gentle hand. Her village thrived, not just with the abundance of harvest or the prosperity of trade, but with the richness of stories shared and bonds strengthened. The lessons she had learned on her journey became woven into the fabric of their daily lives, a tapestry of wisdom and wonder that would guide them through both light and shadow. In the twilight of a late summer evening, when the air was thick with the scent of blooming jasmine, Akiko gathered with her people around a crackling fire. The flames danced, casting flickering shadows that seemed to tell tales of their own. With a smile, she began to speak, her voice carrying the weight of her experiences and the lightness of her dreams. Her words painted pictures of distant lands and familiar faces, of challenges faced and triumphs celebrated. As her story came to a close, a gentle silence enveloped the group, the kind that only comes when hearts are full and souls are at peace. Akiko looked around at the faces illuminated by the warm glow, each one a testament to the interconnectedness of their lives, to the love and resilience that bound them together. And in that moment, she realized that the end of one journey was merely the beginning of another. For every ending is a seed planted in the fertile ground of the heart, ready to grow and bloom into something new and beautiful. With a serene smile, Akiko understood that her tale, like all tales, was an ever-turning page in the vast, boundless book of life. The fire burned low, and as the stars took their place in the night sky, Akiko felt a profound peace wash over her. She was a part of the stars, the earth, and the people around her, an everlasting thread in the intricate weave of existence. And so, the night embraced her, a gentle lullaby of whispered winds and rustling leaves, as her story drifted into the night, carried on the wings of dreams yet to be dreamt. The gathering slowly began to disperse, each person carrying with them a piece of the evening's magic, a whisper of the stories shared, and the warmth of the fire that had connected them all. Akiko watched as her friends and family moved away, their laughter and quiet conversations mingling with the night air, creating a symphony of life that would linger in her heart. She lingered for a moment longer, her eyes tracing the constellations above, each star a reminder of the infinite possibilities that lay ahead. The sky was vast, and so was the horizon of her life, filled with mysteries yet to be unraveled and adventures yet to be lived. As she turned to leave, Akiko felt the gentle pull of the universe guiding her forward, reassuring her that she was never truly alone. The echoes of the evening's stories would accompany her, a chorus of voices that would inspire and sustain her through whatever path she chose to walk. With a final glance at the embers glowing softly in the hearth, she whispered a silent promise to herself, to embrace each moment with gratitude, to cherish the connections she had forged, and to face the unknown with courage and hope. And so, Akiko stepped into the embrace of the night, her heart light and her spirit soaring, as the stories of her life continued to unfold, one breath at a time, under the eternal canopy of stars. The night air was cool and invigorating, wrapping around Akiko like a gentle cloak as she made her way down the winding path that led away from the campfire's warmth. Each step resonated with a quiet confidence, the kind that comes from knowing that one's journey is both unique and universally shared. The soft rustle of leaves, whispered secrets of ancient woods, and the distant call of a night bird echoed through the trees, a reminder of the world teeming with life around her. As she walked, Akiko felt the boundaries between her dreams and reality blur, each moment a precious thread in the tapestry of her existence. She paused for a moment, looking back at the path she had traveled. The memories of laughter, of stories shared, and dreams kindled shimmered in her mind like the stars above. It was in these moments of reflection that she understood the true essence of her journey. It was not just about reaching a destination, but about savoring each step along the way. With renewed determination, Akiko turned her gaze forward, embracing the promise of a new dawn. The universe, vast and unfathomable, awaited her with open arms, ready to reveal its wonders to those willing to explore with an open heart. And so, with a spirit undaunted and a soul alight with possibilities, Akiko ventured onward, her path illuminated by the gentle glow of the stars, her future as boundless as the night sky. As she continued her journey, the whisper of the wind carried with it the echoes of ancient tales, each leaf rustling a testament to the countless stories woven into the fabric of the world. Akiko felt a profound connection to the earth beneath her feet and the sky stretching infinitely above. It was as if the universe itself was a storyteller, and she, a wanderer within its grand narrative. With every step, she left behind the solitude of her past and embraced the vibrant symphony of life unfolding around her. The shadows of doubt that had once clouded her mind dissipated, replaced by a clarity as bright as the morning sun that now began to paint the horizon with hues of gold and pink. In this sacred moment of transition, Akiko realized that her journey was not just her own. It was a shared experience, a dance of interwoven destinies and dreams, where every encounter, every challenge, and every triumph was a note in the melody of existence. And so, with a heart full of gratitude and eyes wide with wonder, Akiko moved forward into the promise of a new day. The world around her, vibrant and alive, sang a song of endless possibility, a reminder that the end of one journey is merely the beginning of another. In the delicate balance between the past and the future, Akiko found her place, a harmony woven from the threads of hope and courage. And as the first light of dawn kissed the earth, she smiled, knowing that she was exactly where she was meant to be, on the cusp of discovery, with a world of infinite stories still waiting to be told.